Good morning, Joydeep Burwa, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
Sharma sir, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Can I just join?
Yeah.
Hello, Barua.
Yes, madam.
Hello, hello. Good
Yes,
morning.
madam.
Ha.
Good morning. Good morning.
If my connectivity is disturbed, you just take over, okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Acha,
Very much.
acha. Because this BSNL, this connectivity network is very poor here. So
Okay.
any disturbance, then you just take over, okay?
Okay, madam. We're waiting for Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. Let me start.
Hello, sir. Jadibur, sir.
Of course, Bangor.
Can we start? Sir has joined.
Sir, Vice Chancellor, sir, join কৰিছে নেকি?
কৰিছে, sir.
Okay, you can start then.
Okay. So rest of the people will be joining during the course of time. So we welcome everyone to this event, which is Vigyan Utsav, a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So now we have all the invitees present here. So I'd like to ask our director, ma'am, Simiti Kimni Sangsang, Aztec Council, to kindly give the welcome address so we can continue with this event. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. I'm indeed really very happy. Today, this is the 8th program that Aztec has taken up celebrating Vigyan Utsav as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And it's the, so to say, the theme for today, that is science and society. It's really interesting. And today we are indeed very fortunate to have very good distinguished speakers. I must say that today we are going to have a very interesting webinar, the science and society. As director Aztec, I would like to convey my heartiest greetings. I welcome our Vice Chancellor, Guwahati University, Dr. Pratap Jyoti Hendik. Thank you so much, sir. For joining us today. We are looking forward to hearing from you. And also, I'm thankful to Minal Kumar Krishna Chaudhary, my colleague in EDA, for being with us today, and Dr. Bhuban Chandra Chutia, Assistant Professor, Naugong College, Dr. Tulsi Prasad Saikia, Chief Scientist, Assam Agriculture University, Dr. Bhim Prasad Sharma, Associate Professor, Tezpur University, So as per our program scheduled, I'm so happy that all our eminent speakers are here today. So we look forward to getting a lot of benefits from hearing from all of them. And I must say that as director as tech, I don't know much how much we have contributed, but as tech also we have also tried to do our bit in trying to contribute something to the society in the field of science and technology. So in this regard, uh, Biman Barua is going to give us the brief inputs, knowledge on the initiative that is undertaken by ESTECT. So looking forward, our today's theme, that is science and society. Just a few words from me. We all know that science is one of the most important uh, channels of knowledge. It has a specific role as well as a variety of functions for the benefits of our society, um, creating new knowledge, improving education, increasing the quality of our lives. And science also must respond to societal needs and global challenges. In fact, now science is now a way of life. There is the moment from the time we get up till the time we go to bed, we are all interconnected with science. So, what is the role of science in our society? What is the impact of science in our society? How do the science and society influence each other? What are the contributions? So all these things today we will come to know more from our esteemed speakers. So from my side, I would just like to say that a society, if our society is based on science, it will become more advanced and will become more prosperous. Because that is the reason why science aims to create a positive change in society. Because science keeps on inventing new things, science keeps on producing an excessive amount of useful things in a shorter period of time. Even, say, for example, our society, that is agriculture society, uh, if it is based on science, it will produce more crops if it follows the scientific method. So we now live in a society which is exclusively dependent on science. It is science society, it is interconnected. Science influences the functioning of our society to a very large extent. So I will not uh, uh, speak more on the topic. We have got our esteemed speakers who will give more elaboration on science for societal equity and inclusion, science in value creation and economic development, and we'll come to know value creation through evolution of new technologies, science education for scientific temper. So we have a lot to learn from in today's webinar. So on my side, um, as director of Assam Science, Technology and Environment Council, I offer my heartiest welcome to each and every one of the participants today. I'm really grateful to you all. Without your attendance, this webinar would not have been a success. So I request each and every one of you to kindly stay till the end of the agenda, that is the vote of thanks, and not leave the webinar in between. So with this, I conclude. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your insight and your perception about how science can influence society. And so now we have uh, Pratap Jyoti Handik, Dr. Pratap Jyoti Handik, Vice Chancellor, Guwahati University, who is going to deliver the keynote address. So over to you, sir.
Good morning. Director Estate Srimati Sanction, esteemed members of the Program Implementation Group of Estate, invited speakers, the participants, ladies and gentlemen. All of you know that the Vigyan Utsav of DST, Government of India, is a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to celebrate and commemorate 75th years of progressive India. For a year-long program, DST has instigated 12 themes of importance under 1 month, 1 theme initiative. The theme for the month of April is Science and Society. I highly appreciate Aztec for organizing and coordinating today's program on Science and Society. I must admit that Assam Science and Technology Council has contributed a lot for the development of science as well as scientific temperament in this state. In this occasion, today, I just want to discuss or give certain points on the brief history of development of science and also the interaction and relations between science and society. We know that the modern science has been growing and progressing for last about 500 years since the days of Galileo, means 1564 to 1642 AD. You know that, hopefully you know that father of modern science was the Galileo, as Albert Einstein called him this way. Until the time of Galileo Galilei, the Earth was thought to be the center of the universe. Galileo's mathematics-based objective observations have changed this perception and ignited one of the foundations of modern science. Now, assessing the progress in science is an intricate philosophical and empirical procedure. Though we are using science, we are enjoying the benefit of the science, but to assessing progress in science is really very difficult and interesting. Now, it requires combined historical, philosophical, sociological deliberations. It is evident that the progress generally indicates moving forward in a positive way. Modern science is a process of understanding the natural and physical world based on recognizable evidence, interpretation, and repeated testing. Science makes progress when it develops concepts, typologies, framework of understanding, methods, techniques, or data that make it possible to uncover phenomena or test explanations of them. Thus, knowing where and how to look for discoveries and explanations is an important type of scientific progress. You are aware that the experimentation in science took increased momentum during the Industrial Revolution at the end of the 18th century. Simultaneously with industrialization, the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes took on a new pace during after the Industrial Revolution. This shift was basically the change from manual production to machinery, new chemical manufacturing and non-production iron production processes, the increasing use of steam power and water power, the development of machine tools, and the rise of mechanized factory system. So these are some of the advancements after the Industrial Revolution. 19th century is the glittering period of modern science. During that century, first and second law of thermodynamics relating to the transformation, conservation, and quality of energy were formulated. During this period, biological evolution theory was also proposed by Darwin in his treatise on the origin of species in the year 1859. Then Maxwell, Boltzmann, Planck, Kelvin, van der Waals, Fourier, Pasteur, and Curie are some of the most known scientists of this era who has made outstanding contributions to the progress of science during the later part of the 19th century. All these names are very popular in our science books, and we know about all this contribution of these scientists. However, this list is just a teeny part of a very big record. Science has almost touched the peak of progress during 20th century. The beginning of 20th century was strongly marked by Einstein's formulation of the theory of relativity in the year 1905, including the unifying concept of energy related to mass and the speed of light, E is equal to mc square. Einstein also made a lot of other contributions, notably to statistical mechanics. Einstein was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1921 for his explanation of the photoelectric effect. During this century, physics grew into a primary discipline. Physics is greatly contributing to today's basic natural sciences, astronomy, chemistry, and biology. The year 1953 was a vital landmark for biology with the description of the structure of DNA, the career of genetic information by Watson and Crick. So it means the physics has a lot of contribution in the development of the other branches of sciences. In the second half of the 20th century, several branches of sciences, namely physics, chemistry, biology, geology, and astronomy, continued to make great progress. During this era, sophisticated instruments become indispensable in speeding up research, in facilitating data collection and interpretation, and for model building with computer program in almost every branch of science. We have many prominent examples for this. The development of semiconductor translator is one of the examples. Then developments in nanotechnology, information technology, the discovery of subatomic particles are the very prominent examples of the development. The deciphering of the genetic code and the regulatory mechanism in living cells, genetic engineering techniques, recombinant DNA technology, genetically modified organisms, gene sequencing, PCR technology are the real developments in science in the later part of the 20th century. In astronomy, the borders of the universe came into the picture, the discovery of black holes and the dark matter, etc. There are some crucial developments in science during the later part of the 20th century, particularly the cross-fertilization among particular disciplines, namely physics, biology, chemistry, and mathematics is a crucial development. This does not just relate to multidisciplinary approaches in studying phenomena, but also critically to the recognition that discovered natural laws in a specific branch might have a bearing on others. An example of cross-fertilized product is the polymerase chain reaction, which is shortly called as PCR. It is an extensively used technique to amplify small pieces of DNA in order to generate thousands to millions of copies of a DNA sequence. By applying heat, the DNA molecules two strands are separated, and the DNA building blocks that have been added are bonded to each strand. PCR amplification produces the significant amount of DNA required for molecular and genetic analysis. Variations of the technology are available to support PCR testing, which includes thermal cyclers, gradient PCR machines, qPCR or RT-PCR machines, and several other modifications. The polymerase chain reaction technique invented in 1985 by Kerry B. Mullis allowed scientists to make millions of copies of a square sample of DNA. Kerry Mullis invented the PCR technique in 1984 while working as a chemist at the Cetus Corporation. He is a biotechnology firm in California. All of you were aware that for detection of COVID-19 virus, RT-PCR technique has been extensively used during COVID-19 emergency in recent past. So that way the PCR, though it is a very modern and developed and sophisticated technique, but it has been utilized in a regular virus detection process during COVID. So this is a very great contribution of Kerry Mullis to the science. And I am very fortunate that I personally met Kerry B. Mullis, who invented PCR. I met him in California in 2002, when I visited California for an academic pursuit. It is accepted by and large that the science is one of the most important media of knowledge. Science has a definite role as well as a diverse range of functions for the benefit of our society. Science has been contributing immensely in creating new knowledge, improving education, and increasing the quality of our lives. The world community has consensus opinion that science must respond to societal needs and global challenges. Moreover, it is understandable that there is direct interaction exists between science and society. The interaction between science and society ensures that knowledge is exchanged, tested, and reflected between the various interest groups. This interaction is often referred to as knowledge transfer. Science impacts society directly by radically changing our means of communication, the way we walk, our food, housing, and clothes, our methods of transportation, and indeed even the span and quality of life itself. Science has generated changes in the moral values and basic philosophies of mankind. So we understand this, and exactly we are influenced by science greatly. The role of science in society is very clear and sensible. There are two possible aims for engaging the policy process and two primary strategies for achieving those goals. The goals are either to improve policies that affect science, that is policy for science, or to improve policies that can benefit from scientific perspective, that is science for policy. So scientists attempt to achieve their goals by either providing information or by championing particular policy outcomes. It has always been a question that why science is important for society. We understand that we live in a knowledge society at present particularly. And what is knowledge? Knowledge is an increasingly important resource in addition to mineral resource, capital, and physical activity. Science contributes significantly to the production of knowledge and thus contributes to the functioning of democracies, drives innovations, and helps countries to be competitive in the global economy. But we must admit that the role of science in a progressively fragmented and digital society, as well as its significance for politics and civil society, needs to be redefined. Science can never offer a universal truth or an objective representation of the world. It can, however, offer methodologically probable interpretations and can question certainties and activate reflections. Science has an important social role and at the same time bears great responsibility precisely when the situation is not clear. So there are many points to be highlighted, but I it can be summarized that the science is the most finest and significant product of the human development and civilization. In popular terms, science is defined as the quest and application of knowledge and understanding of the natural and social world following a scientific methodology based on evidence. It is a truth of the time that our individual, social, and political life is fully impacted by science. Without science, the present society is inadequate to survive and grow. However, fine wisdom and human value must be exercised to achieve comfortable balance in the growth and development of science as well as society. I don't elaborate much. With these few words, I thank and appreciate the Assam Science, Technology and Environment Council for giving me this opportunity to express my view. I hope this webinar will be a success. Various experts will give and discuss various important topics related to science and society. I again highly appreciate DST and STEC for designing this unique way of celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Wish you all the best. Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. In a very short period of time, you have covered almost the entire development of science and how it is regularly impacting our society for its development. Starting from the Galileo to the 20th century's development, 21st century's development, and how a significant innovation and invention can impact our society. The PCR testing is a very important example. How it has become one of the most important weapons in our fight against COVID-19. And nobody perhaps thought when PCR technique was developed that it will be used in 2019, 2021, like anything. So this is the way the science works. Our journey will continue. So the measuring so actually science need not have to be proven because it is impact in the society is always visible. It is obvious. So thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. For the knowledge of the participants, I would like to mention that Dr. Pratapjyoti Hendik sir was the architect of Assam biotechnology policy. With his initiative and leadership, the policy was developed and adopted by the government of Assam. Now it is in action. Thank you, sir, once again. Now it is over to Shubhankar to continue the session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this, your wisdom and sharing with us all your knowledge. Now we have ER Biman Borua, sir, Scientific Officer, SNE Division, ASTA Council. So over to you, sir. He will give a short presentation about our council.
Shubhankar, my slides are not sharing.
Sir, try the present now. You can see beneath the screen. Present now. You will see there. Yes, sir, it is visible now. Sir,
Visible?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
try to change the slide. I will know if it is working.
Is it working?
Yes, sir, working.
Yeah. Honorable speakers, dignitaries, and participants. Today, let me talk about the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, STI ecosystem for Atmanirbhar Bharat under State Science Technology Program, DST Government of India. Theme of this month is Science and Society. Topic is Science and Society, an initiative by Assam Science Technology and Environment Council. Myself, Mansunda Borua, Scientific Officer, Science and Technology Division of State. Now, as all you know, that science generates solutions for everyday life and help us to answer the great mysteries of the universe. It has a specific role as well as variety of functions for benefit of our society, creating new knowledge and improving education, increasing quality of our lives. Science must respond to societal needs and global scenario, public understandings and engagement with the science, and citizens' participants, including through the popularization of science, are essential to equip the citizens to make informed personal and professional choices. To face the sustainable development challenges, government and citizens alike must understand the language of science and must become scientifically literate. The challenge today cut across the traditional boundaries of disciplines and stretch across the life cycles of innovation, from the research to the knowledge of development and its application of science, technology, and must drive our pursuit of our more equitable and sustainable development. Now, initiatives taken by the Assam Science Technology and Environment Council, and I'd like to share a few things. First, I would like to say the contribution of science in value creation and economic development through innovation technology generation awareness scheme and project-related grant under the DST Government of India. A pedal-propelled vehicle to collect and dispose of household solid waste municipal area, which was developed by Dr. Bikramjit Kakoti and Don Bosco University, a useful product considering the ergonomic factors which can overcome day-to-day problems which people are facing during the transportation of urban solid waste. The project has ensured safe and hygienic mode of carrying municipal waste from the residence to nearest waste collection point. It has also reduced the human efforts with the help of ergonomically designed and pedal-propelled pollution-free vehicle. And another is a standardized technology to produce good quality of durable natural dye. This technology has developed by Sri Sandan Keshav, an innovator of Kamrup district. And the idea of natural dye has become very popular among the producers, buyers, sellers, etc. Many products developed by using this process has been commercialized. It has been given niche of movement of production of uses of natural dye. Also, new opportunities have opened up the expansion of the activities which may help rural economic growth as the people may go for cultivation of natural dye in commercial way. Dye is prepared from fruits and plants and prepared a standard database for this. And this natural dye is very useful for Muga silk of Assam, which enhance the quality of Muga silk. And another product developed by an innovator, that is a portable thermoelectric generator, a Firelite. Firelite is a portable and reliable and durable thermoelectric generator made of high-grade aluminum and copper, specially designed for impacting the lives of people living in the grid-deprived areas as well as unreliable grid-covered areas of hilly region. As many of the households in the hilly region, basically in Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao, use firewood for cooking purpose, they can generate their own share of electricity while cooking using this device. Using this device, the people can able to light 3 numbers of 2-watt capacity of LED bulb. Another program council has taken for drive against superstition among the common mass. The name is Rise Mel. An initiative under the scheme Sanskar Manuhe Manuhe started its campaign Rise Mel in various parts of Assam through Aizobato Science Center in block level, with the primary objective of the spread awareness, basically snake bite, social awareness against superstition, witchcraft practices in our society. And most of the regional programs were started from school, college to common places in the marketplace like that. The women health related to the use of sanitary pads, periodic pregnancy checkup, sanitation, balanced diet, etc. were also pointed out in the villages. And media covers such as newspaper and photographs were also indulged for future references. And these are some of the photographs organized in different places of the Assam, where the rice mill was organized. The establishment of Science Center cum Planetarium. This project basically aims to establish planetarium from Science Park at basically Kokrajhar, Nalbari, and North Lakhimpur for scientific display and demonstration to instill the scientific spirit and temperament amongst the common people. Through this demonstration of active model and displays, the center will try to attract the people so that they receive much required knowledge on the scientific development of modern world. The state government has also planned to construct 6 more planetariums across the state, further increase the enthusiasm towards astronomy and other related subjects. This center will cater the spread scientific temper in the region, hands-on activities, scientific displays, shows awareness programs. Beside others will be the focal activities of this planetarium. 6 places already been identified. These are the photographs of the planetarium, Nalbari districts and Lakhimpur districts of the planetarium. The construction is going on. Another is the Science and Technology Department and STEC has taken initiative to establishment of District Science Center. The District Science Center will be set up in 23 districts headquarters where there is no planetarium and science centers, as well as where works related construction of planetarium science centers are in progress. The centers will also lay in Baska, Sirang, Gwalpara, South Salmara, Karbi Anglong, Dima Hasao, Hailakandi, Karimganj, Sibsagar, Tinsukia, Dibrugarh, Dhemaji, Dorong, Biswanath, Saraidew, Dhubri, Nagaon, Morigaon, Hosai, Udalguri, Golaghat, Borpeta, Sunitpur, and Bongaigaon. Another program council has taken initiative for the unemployment youth, that is training cum production center for LED bulbs. First training program was organized for Guwahati Central Jail. This is based on Central Jail as a source of revenue generation among the inmates. Similar center being also explored for setting up at block level of the state through Ajabato Science Center. And the same program was organized in LED fabrication and testing program and for unemployed youth in Difu, Karbi Anglong. And the program was very successful, and it is the program was supported with the technical support of Guwahati University, basically Department of UC. And some other important program organized by the council for that is the Importance Day, that is National Mathematics Day, National Technology Day, National Science Day, World Environment Day, and Ozone Day, World Wetland Day, Earth Day, International Day of Yoga to inculcate the scientific temper among the common mass. The Assam Science Festival, the council has taken a big venture that this Assam Science Festival is an initiative of the Science and Technology Department and STEC, where the large number of grassroots level innovators and R&D organization, SNT-based institution, and the scientific community, entrepreneurs are participated in the program. Now already two editions of Assam Science Festival have been organized since 2017. And the prime objective of the festival is to inculcate scientific temperament among the common mass and attract the young minds towards the field of science and technology and innovation. These are some of the photographs of the Assam Science Festival, which was organized at Tezpur University. Another program is National Children Science Congress. The National Children Science Congress, a unique program of children group 10 to 17 years, is a flagship program of the National Council for Science, Technology, Communication, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. The program was, through this program, an attempt is being made to develop a project where related curricula and to use the openly available environment as a laboratory, and also face-to-face interaction program with the renowned scientists is also organized, which are being clarity in their concept and lead to better understanding. And few other workshops and seminars also organized. And we have a patent information center. And through this patent information center, we have organized intellectual property workshops, seminars, and one of such photographs shown here, we have IPR camp organized in authorized users, basically GI for Muga Silk of Assam at Dibrugarh. And also one fundamental course for IPR and technology management has been designed for NIPAR Guwahati. The National Green Crops, this National Green Crops is a major initiative from Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change for creating environmental awareness among the students and masses through eco clubs, set up schools in colleges. The implemented in the Assam Science, Technology and Environment Council since its inception from 2001 to 2002. The recent major activities is massive plantation campaign, then more than 1 lakh saplings planted, the mask bank campaign by Eco Club gathers during the COVID situation, installation of bird shelters, vermicomposting units by Eco Clubs, and school beekeeping program at Eco Clubs, seminars, debates, lectures, popular talks on environmental issues, online webinar, art, poster, debate competition, and environmentally important topics, setting up of botanical gardens, banana gardens, etc. at Eco Clubs. And these are some of the photographs of the National Green Crops. And another, the state climate cell, the climate cell set up in the council premises is required to formulate the policies and action plan, prioritize research activities and action in the subject of weather and climate. To handle the emerging situation, we need to generate proper understanding and awareness about the weather and the climate. The factors that causing the changes of the weather, keeping in local context in view. The climate cell is equipped with experts and networking facilities with various stakeholders, departments, education institutions, central government agencies, and research laboratories, etc. The center is being formulating actions while implementing the National Action Plan on Climate Change, formulated by Government of India. In addition, the climate cell is monitoring with the host institution where automatic weather systems have been set up. These are the few initiatives has been taken by the council. Thank you. Over to Subhankar.
Thank you, Borwa sir, for showing some of the activities of the council to instill science in our society. So now we have Sri Mrinal Krishna Chaudhary sir, Director, Assam Energy Development Agency. So over to you, sir.
So good morning, everybody. Madam Director, ESTEC, Honorable VC, Guwahati University, and all the faculty members in this today's webinar, and all the participants. It's indeed a privilege on my part to be a part of this whole exercise on account of Azadi Ki Amrit Mahotsav being organized by ESTEC under the aegis of DST. And the theme is very pertinent, which is taken as science and society. So I basically belong to Assam Energy Development Agency, which is the nodal agency for the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. Basically, we execute projects related to renewable energy, energy conservation, and all those sorts. And I just have a presentation on basically the photographs of what are the works we do. Can I share it?
Yes, sir.
Is it seen?
Sir, not yet.
It's not seen. Just,
No, sir.
just.
Okay, sir. No problem.
Hey, Rijuk mati diya na.
Share button to click on our full screen of job.
Yes,
I see,
now
I
it
see,
is. Yes, sir.
Is there?
The presentation.
Yes.
The presentation to click on. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes,
I have full screen of
Yeah. So, the topic which has been given to me is the science for societal equity and inclusion. Whatever we do as a part of the renewable energy exercise for the state of Assam as well as in the for the northeastern region is directly connected to the societal benefit of different inventions or different activities which has been done in the field of renewable energy or related sectors. But for whom are we doing these? So it is for the mankind. It is for the entire humanity. So it is for the entire state. So these are the people who actually reap the harvest of different activities or different scientific development which takes place in the field of renewable energy through us or through agencies like us who cater to delivering the whatever the schemes we have with different type of technologies. Because you see, the topic which has been chosen, science for society, say it is very pertinent to the holistic development of mankind as well as the sustainable development which is happening throughout. Say the globe, the earth is limited, it is finite, and whatever resources within that, it is finite. The fossil fuel which we have, the petroleum reserve which we have, all these are finite. But as you've seen in the earlier picture, the human population is growing each and every day. And these are the people who are dependent on the resources which is within this entire globe. So for that's why we now have to devise systems or any activity which is sustainable, which might be an alternative to the limited resources which we have. So that's why it has to be a holistic development which needs to take place on account of the human development, taking into account of different resources which we have. See, let us begin with the aspects. What we have been doing, we have been trying to popularize solar technology in the field. So what is solar technology? It is a semiconductor device, say solar photovoltaics, say it is a semiconductor device, which is an invention of science. Whenever the sunlight falls on these devices, it generates electricity. And that electricity, we can either store or we can directly use it. Say, for instance, in this picture which you see, the sunlight is falling on a solar panel. That amount of energy is stored in a battery. And at the evening, whenever we need, we use it. So this is one of the fundamental applications which has found its use length and breadth of the country or length and breadth of the globe, you can say. where there is no perennial availability of conventional power. So it has become very, very popular. This is only the gift of science. So these are few of those snapshots which we have. There's a small house which gets electricity or which gets lighting from a solar panel which is mounted on the top of the house. There you have a storage battery. That's the benefit of science. So we have a storage battery, we have the lights, and this is a decentralized use of renewable energy application. So this is the basic fundamental system. We have the solar panel over here. You have a charge controller, you have the battery and the lights. This is one of the systems which has become very, very popular in the rural areas, which is not connected to the grid. So these are the areas in the state. We have a project called Remote Village Electrification. These type of systems which we have given to about almost 38,000 households throughout the length and breadth of the state, and they are very, very privileged to have the benefit of these small home lighting systems where there was no electricity at that point of time. Now into many areas conventional electricity has reached. So these are few of those pictures which you can see. So this picture is a very interesting picture. So where a person which is there at the back, he got this system, but his requirement was something else. So that was a little bit of innovative person. So what he did, from that battery, he had a device from which you could charge about 10 to 15 mobile handsets. And since it's in a very remote area, so that person catered to the requirement of the mobile charging for that community through a small home lighting system, which he modified to a to this centralized mobile charging unit. So these are these are some type of innovations, as Biman had already had shown earlier. Thank you. So those type of innovations which they take place. So this is one of those innovations which that person had been doing. And so those type of small home lighting system used to benefit these rural women. They have a light at the top of the veranda. So during the evening, these women, they have these handlooms on their veranda. In the evening, when they have spare time, they use the solar light for weaving purpose. And that adds on to the rural economy of the household as well as the village. So this is another very interesting, snapshot. I had been to a place called Amarpur in Hodia, and we had stayed in that small house. You can see in the morning I came out and I've seen this structure. So I tried to find out what is this structure. Then the person he told me that this is a cinema hall. So there at the end, you can see a small TV which runs on this solar panel and has a battery. And that person was running a cinema hall using this invention of science, that solar panel. And he had a show, that Mahabharat CD he used to show them at 7 o'clock evening and charging him 5 rupees. So these are small things which makes really a dent on the rural economy as well as the livelihood of those rural people, as well as the lifestyle of those rural people. Another small project which we did, this is in a place called Loharghat. This person is a rural entrepreneur. He was given about 6 solar panels under a project by Terry and about 40 lanterns. This person used to charge these lanterns and give it on rent. And these, children, they used to take it in the evening, use it and bring it back in the morning for charging. This is under a project called Lighting a Billion Lives program, a solar lantern charging unit. This person used to earn about 10 rupees if he gives it to a commercial unit or a shop, 5 rupees to a household, and 3 rupees or 2 rupees from students. And this is the picture which we took when we visited this place in the morning. The same home lighting system benefits our rural households, and it benefits this small kid who is studying with that solar light along with his sister in a very remote area where there's no electricity. That is the boon of science. That is the boon of solar electricity. So these are so very prized possession of these people. So this is a picture during a flood. So this person you see, he is carrying along with him his prized possession, that is the solar home lighting system. So wherever he goes, because his house is inundated in flood water, so he has to get settled somewhere where the people are being provided relief, and he is there with this as his prized possession, the belonging which he has taken, and this is the top priority thing which he has taken. So this is the amount of contribution which science has given to these rural people. Same here. So they are there on the raft, but they have the solar panel which is giving them light in the evening. Small devices using a solar panel, a micro pump, can do wonders in the rural economy. Say, for instance, he has a micro pump and does a little bit of cultivation, grows vegetables, sells into the market, and he can earn his livelihood from there. So it can make a person in a rural, say, landscape self-independent, a very small micro pump. So it can be a bigger system which can add on to his, say, farming. So this is one place. We did a small power plant in a place in Borgaon in Karbi Anglong. Earlier, there wasn't any doctors used to stay in that small rural setup. But since we put this solar plant, they about say 3-4 doctors used to stay in that hospital, and the people were getting benefit from that solar plant in that area. These doctors were providing them health support to the rural community over there. Similar project, very recently we have completed a project under the Envis Center of Aztec, where Aztec provided small solar, say, power plants to the rural schools where there is no electricity. So this is a very small unit. This is a 1 kilowatt solar plant, which is, say, installed very recently. Last week only we completed. That Birgeswari Girls ME School is on the fringe area of Manas, where the kids, they would get the benefit of this solar plant. Whenever in the hot days, they can get the benefit of using a fan for this small school. So similar projects we did for bigger setups. These are bigger schools. These are bigger polytechnics where we provided solar lights. And these are a number of health centers in Karbi Anglong and the Mahasau area. We also did similar work for rural banks and say Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya. These are totally independent of, they don't have conventional electricity in those areas. So this is in Dhubri. We also had a very interesting project done a few years back, where a cold storage run with solar was provided in 2 places, that is in Bongaigaon and Baksa, so in Udalguri. So this is a cold storage which is absolutely run with a solar panel. So whatever the villagers used to produce, they would store over here till they get a market, and from there they used to take to the market for selling. So whatever surplus is there, they don't waste it. They store it over here and take it for the market so that they can get a better price. That helps in boosting their rural economy. Street lights is also another boon where we can say provide street lights in places which is not electrified. But the most interesting thing is that these solar street lights are now benefiting our rural villages which are now affected by elephants. Very recently, we did a project under the MNRE where 90% subsidy was provided. And one of the key takers of this was Oranyok. So we provided a number of solar street lights to Oranyok where they had set up on the forest fringe villages. And you see, once they put up these street lights on the road, these elephants now don't penetrate into these villages. They take some other route and go away. So yesterday, a similar thing happened. We are putting up a floating solar plant in a place near Koliabor, which is in a fringe area of Kajironga. And that area was, say, they had a herd of about, say, 20 elephants coming to that location, and they destroyed few houses. So there we have about 10 solar street lights installed. At that point of time at night, since nobody was there, it was switched off. Then immediately on arrival of the elephant, since at the time of destroying their house, they immediately switched it on. Having seen these street lights, the entire herd of elephants, they vanished. They immediately went away. So these small, it might be a very small thing, but it really makes a dent to the lives of these rural villagers who stay in the fringe area of these forests. Another thing we haven't done, but it's a very beneficial thing, is solar fencing. This you can see is say electrified cables, but these are not that dangerous that it can kill a man. It is a very high voltage fence, but with very minimal amount of power, current. So similar, you have an energizer over here. So elephants, in case they touch it, or any animal, if they touch it, they'll just get a shock, which is not harmful. It is just like that mosquito racket which we have. So similar project, Oranyok did a project in Baksa. It is in a place called Choki on the Bhutan border. So there we have seen that the entire village where the elephants used to come, they have put up this solar fence. And the benefit of the solar fence is that the elephant now does not infringe into that village. So they have taken some other route. They don't come to the village, and the crop of these villagers are protected now. And they were very happy with this small thing which they have installed over in that place. We also did another project on rooftop solar, where number of buildings, commercial as well as say community buildings, have been provided with rooftop solar plants, where the electricity generated is used by the institution, and the excess electricity is being given to the grid, and they get compensated. This is one of the very successful projects which AIDA has completed very recently. These are few snapshots. This is in, say, Hong Kong Netraloy. And this is the Guwahati Medical College. You can see the Guwahati Medical College, the entire rooftop, all these solar panels over there, 500 kilowatt, largest rooftop plant in Assam till now. This is in a hospital in Jorhat. Another very interesting project which we did for boosting up rural economy through these science and technology intervention is putting up a floating solar plant. This is a floating solar plant on a pond in Morigao, where the solar panels are put on top of the pond on a structure, and you have an aerator over there, a sprinkler type of a device which aerates the water on the pond, increases the dissolved oxygen content of the water, and enhances the aquatic life. That means they get more fish production. This is in a village we did, where we had about, say, 14 street lights and 20 household lighting. And there is a small panel where the villagers used to come and charge their mobiles or a little bit of livelihood activities. So seeing this benefit, we have been given another project, which we very recently completed in Hajo. So you can see over here, this is an aerator, because we have heard that the fish in Hajo tank, Hajo pond of the temple, fish used to die. That is one of the reasons, is that they had no oxygen in the water. Water need to be aerated. So this is a device which will aerate the water. At the same time, it will provide lighting to the periphery of that Hajo pond. So we have recently completed about 6 of these. Another 3 of these are under installation. So this is another very interesting, say, picture. See, during flood, how will the people cook? So you can see over here, the woman, she is cooking on a self-made device. But recently, through the Envis Center, as well as earlier we did it to disaster management, we had provided a fuel-efficient cook stove, where less amount of firewood is necessary, and it's very handy, it's very portable. So they can use it in this type of, say, time. So they can also use it in a normal time in their houses. So there's a portable cook stove, very efficient, fuel-efficient portable cook stove. Earlier, we used to do this improved cook stoves, where proper taking into, say, account of proper combustion with very scientifically designed cook stoves, which uses less amount of fuel, almost say 40 to 50% amount of fuel is less fuel is used. So taking into consideration this type of concepts, we develop number of say cook stoves, very scientifically designed with locally available material. You have clay, sand, cow dung, rice husk. We make these improved cook stoves through training process. We give training. Recently, we did one in Pobitora area. So women also take part in these trainings. They make these improved cook stoves, and the people in the rural areas, they get benefit as a fact of creating livelihood, as well as getting the benefit from the improved cook stove with less amount of firewood. That directly impacts on the, say, environmental protection. So this is the one of the portable. So while traveling to that solar lantern project in Loharghat, we came across this picture. These kids were taking firewood. Then we just stopped and asked them, where are you going? They told, no, 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 Sare aji bhat banabo, khori nibo pothiaise. Then it just struck us. So then we thought, why not we make something for the schools? So this is one of the, say, community cook stove we prepared for the midday meal program in one of those schools over there. And so this is the school. We did it through Kolpodrum. There's an organization there. So it was found to be very, very effective. So this is in a nutshell how the invention, the technology of science and technology, benefits of, say, contribution of science directly affects different communities, different aspects of the society for their livelihood, for their stability, and for effective life. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Minal Krishna Chaudhary. I think you have covered the whole ambit of the how the renewable energy can improve the societal needs, healthy societal needs. In fact, Sri Minal Krishna Chaudhary is one of the pioneering person in the field of renewable energy in Assam, starting from the solar, biomass, microhydel. In everywhere, he has very immense contribution in popularizing renewable energy in Assam. I think his presentation will certainly will help us understanding how the small intervention can change the lives. So thank you,
Thank you.
Sri Chaudhary, for your nice presentation. Thank you. Now it is about Subhankar now.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Dr. Bhuvendra Chandra Sutia, sir, Assistant Professor, Nagaon College, Nagaon. So he's going to deliver a talk on the sub-theme, that is contribution of science in value creation and economic development. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Subhankar. Respected Director, Aspect, Honorable today's keynote speaker, renowned biotechnologist, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Guwahati University, distinguished speakers of the today's webinar, Aspect officials, and all participants joining this webinar through virtual platform. Contribution of science in value creation and economic development. In relation to this theme, I am going to share my experiences and very small initiative. So, can I share my slide? Hello.
Sir.
Yes, you can share.
Oh, oh. Just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sharing. Is it visible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Is it coming? Yeah.
Yes, sir. It is now being presented. Sir,
Okay.
you can full screen the slides.
Okay. So is it okay? Is it okay now?
It is still not visible as full screen.
I have shared as a full screen, not yet visible.
No, sir. So you can do one thing. You can share your entire screen instead of tab or a window when you share
Okay.
your entire screen.
So entire screen is not showing.
When you try to when you click the press now button, you will get three options: your entire screen, a window, and a tab.
Okay,
So
tab 2 is okay.
you are not seeing the entire screen.
Yeah, entire screen I have seen, but
You try to click that.
yes, but it is not showing my entire screen, computer screen. It is showing only that. Okay, just a minute.
Okay.
So no, not yet. Not showing my computer screen. It's showing only that Google Meet screen only.
Okay. No, you can. So it is not being presented, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So you can do one thing. You can mail me the presentation. I'll upload it from.
Or can I share other way? Like I have to open the my PPT first, then, but it will not in full screen mode.
Okay. So you can try that. I will look into it. Sir, can you please do that? Like for.
Just check. Is it visible?
It is visible, but full screen is it's we can't
Yeah.
see the full screen actually. That is the okay. Yeah, you can now. I
Okay.
can see the mouse pointer. So can you
Oh,
just sir, can you just full screen it?
okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is
I
it?
uh, just waiting.
I have shared full screen, but not yet visible or what?
No, sir. Sir, we may continue with the with this screen only. Uh,
Which one? That.
without full screening.
Okay. I will share again. Yeah, I am already. So is it coming? Okay.
Yes, yes, sir. It is coming.
Okay then. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you so much
Just try
once
to
again.
sir. Can you just try to change the slide once? I will be.
Is it coming?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. We can continue with
Okay.
this since it is not.
Okay. Sorry for interruption. Yeah. In this lecture, I am going to share my experiences how agriculture-based activities help economic upliftment and employment of rural people. Okay. I myself believe connectivity between science education and entrepreneurial education is evident as a novel idea in school and higher education teaching practices over recent years. From higher education and industry perspective, the importance of connecting science with entrepreneurial thinking is viewed from perspective of job creation. So I have already mentioned that in this lecture, I'm going to share my experiences how agriculture-based activities help economic upliftment and employment of rural people. So we have already know that silk is the fancy gift of God. So sericulture, if we're talking about sericulture or silk farming is the commercial rearing of sericogenous, that means silk producing insect and their host plants for production of silk. So it is an agro-based industry, labor-intensive industry. India, if we see the production scenario, India is the second largest producer of the silk next to China. So provides direct employment to about 35 million people. If we see the silk varieties, we have four major varieties of silk. We have mulberry, uh, tussar we have temperate and tropical tussar, muga and eri. For production of silk, natural silk over the world. And beauty is there in northeastern region of India. We have four varieties of silk. So, sericulture as a multidisciplinary subject. Here we have students also. If we go for the sericulture in details, sericulture is a multidisciplinary subject. If we're talking about the insect itself, then it involves zoology. Then host plants, we have botany. Like this, biochemistry, biotechnology, genetics, and microbiology. So, sericulture is a multidisciplinary subject. So multi-purpose use of sericulture also, if from host plants, fruits, root, bark, fuel, wood, even pupa also, pupa, oil, pupal cake, silkworm litter, biogas, vermicomposting, etc. So now we are talking about the agriculture. So uses of silk of Samia species is the embedded with the cultural heritage of people of northeastern region of India. So agriculture, rearing of silkworm, eri silkworm, and harvesting of cocoons and spinning as well as weaving has been an integral part of rural economic activities, especially of the rural women in Assam. If we see the history, the name eri derives from the Assamese word era, which means the castor oil plants, primary food plants of this worm. According to some authors, the word eri comes from the word iranda, an ancient Sanskrit word name for castor plant. The history of agriculture is not known. It is believed to have originated in India. The inhabitants of northeastern region of India, northeastern India, especially northeastern states, practice agriculture from in time memory. So if we see the eri, scientific name Samia ricini. All over the world, we have 19 species of eri silkworm. Out of these, Samia ricini is domesticated. Besides castor food plants, we have 10 more food plants are so far recorded and reported. And the primary food plants or main food plants, we can see castor, keseru, and tapioca. This is the basic about the agriculture. So here, if we see the agriculture as a sustainable livelihood generation activity, if we see in Indian context, out of 63,588 villages, agriculture is factorized in is about 52,360 villages and is providing livelihood to 9,47,631 families. In case of India, Assam, it is factorized more than 9,373 villages, providing employment to 2.5 lakhs families. So now I have already mentioned that I am going to share my experiences only and small initiative, how agriculture from farm to market, an initiative from Nagaon College Autonomous Campus to community. So, Nagaon and Morigaon district of Assam has a traditionally eri rearing district, but due to various reasons, development of forelands and other so many reasons, because in eri rearers generally they don't have systematic plantation food plots. So, but due to various reasons, this culture is not seen as an alternative income generating activity by the people. To rejuvenate the age-old tradition of eri rearing as initiative has been undertaken by Nagaon College through motivation, capacity building, and efficient marketing skills. The rural farmers were trained in scientific agriculture, motorized eri spinning, eri silk spinning, natural dyeing on eri fiber and fabric, product diversification, fish farming, and vermicomposting. So integrated farming. That means agriculture come ornamental fish farming. So that were taught. So these are my study area, Nagaon and Morigaon. So methodology which actually I have used to rejuvenate the age-old technique to modernize, to modernize how can so that we can go for the more benefit. So pre-training selection of beneficiary. So beneficiary groups were formed belonging to ST communities from Nagaon and Morigaon district. The beneficiaries have basic knowledge on eri silkworm rearing and practice eri culture by eri silkworm rearing previously. But due to shortage of food plants and eri DFL, that means disease laying eggs. DFLs means disease-free layings, that means disease-free eggs. They have gave up this practice. They were consulted and motivated, and adequate amount of DFLs and castor seed were provided to each beneficiary. So accordingly, hands-on training program were conducted to, because they traditionally use a takri, traditional spinning machine, to replace labor and time-intensive traditional eri silk spinning by takri. Motorized eri spinning was introduced in beneficiaries. To train beneficiaries, a series of hands-on training programs were arranged. So degumming and making eri silk cake for spinning were also taught. And accordingly, quality control operation techniques were also taught to them during the training sessions. Training on natural dye on eri silk cloths or fibers were also organized, and farmers were taught various dyeing techniques and dye preparation from locally available bioresources like mehendi, onion peels, jackfruit tree, amla, like etc. So post-training follow-up also we are monitoring. Periodic monitoring of the progress by farmers, and appropriate measures were taken immediately to cope up any difficulties if arise. So by rearing 100 DFLs throughout each season, one can earn an approximate amount of rupees 1 lakh in a year, out of which a major portion comes from the marketing of the pupa. I'm talking about the rearing. From rearing, they can earn 1 lakhs. Since the works are going on at the tribal dominated areas, the beneficiaries have not faced any difficulties in marketing of eri pupa. Moreover, eri pupa are also marketed in urban areas. So these are some snapshots of the rearing in remote villages. So here I am showing in different seasons how they can rear, and ultimately from rearing side they can earn approximate amount of 1 lakhs. And the rearing activities in a remote eri rearing villages. So accordingly, I have field training, rearing operation. I have monitored field, and also I have taught them how to rear in scientifically. So I am showing some photographs also. Field training on rearing, scientific rearing, spinning, dyeing, etc., which we have conducted. Accordingly, training also we have conducted at House Institute. That means Nagaon College Autonomous. We have conducted different sets of training on scientific agriculture, then rearing, then dyeing and spinning. So accordingly, natural dye for dyeing of eri fiber or eri silk cloth. We have conducted training program on from locally available bioresources. Accordingly, you can see here the different natural dyed eri fibers, which we have experimented in our laboratories and also field. We have conducted training program in our House Institute and also field level. These are the some natural dyed thread. Here, I just want to mention that Ms. Lasti Mithi, President and Prime Minister of India, Special Certificate Recipient, Traditional Artisan from a remote village of Karbi Anglong, was invited to interact with the farmers for traditional dyeing techniques, traditional motifs and design, and for motivation of the farmers. So accordingly, we have invited also the Miss Sangjukta Datta, renowned fashion designer, was invited to interact with the farmers for modern day design, product diversification, and different labor color schemes for airy clothes. So I have interlinked it with the different groups, because now I have around 200 women in different villages of Nagaon and Morigaon. So among them, I have interlinkages also made. Also, different R&D institutions and NGOs, along with NGOs also, I have interlinked them, and I have formed a society named Shaku, to so that we can do our activities from campus to community. So these are some photographs which is showing weaving activities at Monoha village, Morigaon district. So these are some naturally dyed airy silk products which produced by our rural weavers. Again, these are some products. So marketing of naturally dyed airy silk product. Actually, both the groups and different airy rearing villages, they participated in various national and international exhibitions and trade fairs. Also, they have open online marketing also. So from a small initiative, now they are marketing online and also different trade fairs, and also they are outlay in their own places. So some of the naturally dyed airy silk products, these are made by our traditional airy rearers. These are others, some natural dyed airy silk product. So again, some of the natural dyed airy silk product, because again, some of the natural dyed airy silk product. So these are all made by our farmers. So income generation after the initiative. Before the project intervention, beneficiaries from rural villages does not have any idea of product diversification and natural dye on airy silk. After the project intervention and our initiative, so beneficiaries were able to produce various types of diversified products such as mekla chador, stole, muffler, waistcoat, curtain, cushion cover, etc., which were limited to only airy shawl for men earlier. From these diversified products, they were able to grab a good market in district fairs and handloom exhibition. A approximate price list of the product were given below. Suppose airy muffler 600 to 1100, like this. So these are some snapshots which I have covered across the Assam, interviewed in different communities about their traditional knowledge on natural dye and airy silk rearing, airy silk production, and airy rearing, airy silkworm rearing. So just last, I am going to share a story. Monoha village, an example of income generation through scientific intervention in agriculture. So after using natural dye on airy silk fibers, weavers able to produce various types of diversified products such as mekla chador, stole, muffler, cushion cover, etc., which were limited only, I have mentioned that airy shawl for men earlier. From this diversified product, they were able to grab good markets in handloom exhibition, national and international trade fair. And yeah, so that's all about briefly my initiative and my experiences along with this topic, contribution of science in value creation and economic development. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sipia. So you have shown how these small interventions can transform the society, how we can strengthen the society. I thank you and also the Nagaon College for your continuous initiative for this type of activities. Dr. Sutia is also a very active member of Assam Science Society. So Assam
Thank you so much,
Science
sir.
Society also, they are taking a lot of initiative in popularizing science among masses. So thank you once again. Now it is over to Shubhankar to continue the process.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Bhuvan Chandra Chutia sir and Jodip Bura sir. So now we have Dr. Tulsi Prasad Soikia, Chief Scientist, Assam Agriculture University. He is going to deliver a talk on the sub-theme Value Creation Through the Evolution of New Technologies.
So,
yes,
yeah, thank you, Mr. Subhankar. Am I audible to you?
yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. So, very good afternoon to all the participants. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Guwahati University, respected Director, Assam Energy Development Authority, scientific officials from state, and all the participants. Also, my other co-presenters, Dr. Sutia, Dr. Sharma. I've been knowing Dr. Sutia because since long I had anyway. So my topic for today's deliberation is on value creation through evolution of new technologies. So, Mr. Subhankar, is it visible to you all, or it is not visible? Then you can share from there itself.
Yes, sir. Can you try to share it?
Yes, I'm just trying to share, but I have already sent to you the presentation.
Yes,
you
sir.
can try from there also.
Okay, sir. If it is not being presented from your end, we will do it. Sir, you can click the present now button and then click on there will be three options: your entire screen, a window, and a tab. So please try to click the your entire screen tab. If you
click the entire screen.
Okay, so still waiting. I think due to some network issue.
Yes, maybe due to some network issue.
Yes, sir.
You can try from there.
Yes, sir. I'm trying from my end. You just tell me when to change the slide. Accordingly, I will change the slide.
Yeah, it's coming. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Subhankar, helping me from Aztec headquarters. So this is my topic for today's deliberation is value creation through evolution and or through intervention of new technologies. So I am Dr. Tulsi Prasad Saikia. I have been working as chief scientist at the Assam Agriculture University's Sugarcane Research Station near Dergaon, named Pura Lekson. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So for all we know that what is value creation, it is a process of increasing the consumption or use of the tangible or intangible goods through physical, chemical, locational, and transformations. It may be through value creation through packaging, value creation through processing, value creation through diversified exporting, or it may be through knowledge development. So, for example, farmers growing or harvesting crops, product diversification, that means value addition of different finished harvested products. And next, please. Yeah. In a typical agricultural value chain system, these are the steps: the production of different crops, then the production, harvesting, transport, then primary processing and storage, secondary processing, distribution, packaging, then wholesale and retail markets, or nowadays the e-markets. Next, please. Let's take one agricultural crop or field crops is potato. So I can't cover all the agricultural technologies or the production technologies in a 15 minutes time. So the potato, everybody, we consume potato as for table purposes, but for cultivation of potato, the prime requisite is the seed. Quality seed is the prime requisite, and we can't grow the seeds in our climate due to adverse climatic conditions which can't allow production of seeds. Cultivation of potato is possible, production is possible, but seeds we have to import from outside states. Our state's total requirement of potato for cultivation is 2.5 lakh tons. So farmers can save only 25% of the seeds for the next season, and we import about 1.9 lakh tons each year, and the costing of that mass amount of seeds is 780 crores annually. Next, please. Next, please, Mr. Subhankar. Yeah. So potato cultivation, as I said earlier, is the quality seed, and it alone costs 40% of the total production cost of the potato. So what are the problems? I want to briefly state 2 or 3 factors. The high vector population due to climatic conditions. Vectors are the carriers. These are mainly insects which carry the diseases. So high rate of seed degeneration in our climate. If we store the seed for next season, it generally get affected and it will not be suitable for growing in the next season. We have to consume it. High incidence of late blight disease, one kind of disease that mostly prevalent in potato. Next, please. Yeah, this is the potato growing season in Assam. So if we plant the potato in October, November, so the peak period of mid-January to mid-March is the most vulnerable period for incidence of aphid. Aphid is an insect which damages the quality of the seeds. So in order to overcome this problem, we have developed our Central Potato Research Institute at Simla. They have developed one technology I want to highlight. Next, please. This is a potato seeds. It should be 40 to 60 grams for to be used as seed. It should be free from diseases, and it should not be grown in the areas where they are affected by wart, cyst, nematode, and other diseases. And also, it should be free from seed and other diseases. So it should be harvested at the right maturity, physiological stage. Next, please. Yeah, seed plot technique is one technique. As I said, it was developed by CPRI Simla. This has completely revolutionized or going to be revolutionized the total potato seed production scenario in our state as well as in the whole Northeast. What is this? The growing of seed potato using healthy seed during low aphid period from October to first week of January, coupled with integrated pest management. Rogging means uprooting of unwanted plants or unwanted types, and dehumming. Dehumming means cutting of the stems, the top portions. Dehumming of the seed during the last week of January before aphid reaches the critical limit. Next, please. Yeah, this is in a nutshell the diagrammatic representation of the seed plot technique by which we can grow the potato seeds in our condition. Next, please. Yeah, these are some of the snapshots. We have been growing potato seeds in our university in the KVK system, Krishi Vigyan Kendra Golaghat. They have cultivated with use of some net house so that aphid cannot come inside the net house to infect the potato plants. So this is a protected cultivation with net so that aphid infestation can be checked. Next, please. Yeah, I'm now going to onion. Next to potato is onion. I am thankful to Aztec for granting one project on onion seed production. Like potato, onion seed production is also a problem in our conditions. We can grow and in that climate the onion seeds. We have been trying. So Aztec has granted a project 2 years back. Now we are in the last stage. Next, please. Next, please, Mr. Subhankar. Yeah, this is the photographs of Bokoliakat area where we have been going. Next, please, Mr. Subhankar.
Sir, your voice is
It's not
breaking down.
going.
Your
Yeah, my voice is made. Yeah.
problem with
Now I'm coming close to the computer.
yeah.
Is it audible to you?
So it is audible. Just the network connection is bit poor, I guess.
Yeah,
So
yeah. My place is a remote place. It is too far from
problem.
our university headquarters. So these are the onion flowers flowering presently at Karbi Anglong. It is a Aztec funded project. We have been letting some seeds which are being utilized as planting material in this current season. Next, please. Yeah, these are the onion seeds, Agri-Found dark red. It is a variety from Nasik. We have planted here the onion crop and we have produced the onion seeds. And these onion seeds are being utilized for growing this season's crop. Next, please. These are the onion bulbs we have harvested in Bokoliaghat area of Karbi Anglong from the funded project by Aztec. They have been using these tubers or onion bulbs also for the current year's production. Next, please. This is the climate resilient technology for wheat. For wheat crop is growing in a very good shape here in our condition, but keeping the seeds for the next season is a problem due to early onset of rainfalls. We have developed a technology at Nagaon. So the spraying of 7.5% common salt or 150 ppm sodium molybdate at milk and maturity stage that can control the pre-harvest sprouting. So these are photographs showing control without application of these chemicals, sodium chloride, sodium molybdate, and these are treated with common salt and sodium molybdate. The seeds can be kept for next season in the wheat. Next, please. Yeah, this is for the red rice. The red rice, as you know, it is the bow or deep water rice abundantly grown in Dhemaji, Majuli, and North Lakhimpur. This is our university regional station at North Lakhimpur has developed some value-added products. Next, please. Yeah, as you know, the red rice or bow rice is rich in dietary fiber. They are rich in micronutrients, iron and zinc. Also, they are rich in anthocyanin content, is in proteins and vitamin, and they have a low organic by default. Then food security to poor farmers in the flood-prone areas like Dhemaji and Majuli and North Lakhimpur. Next, please. These are the value-added products. Paddy on milling produces brown rice, Polish rice, germ, bran, broken husk. So brown rice is a value-added product from red rice that fetches good market price. The general rice, if it is sold at 40 rupees, the brown rice fetches a market price of 100 rupees or 120 rupees. Now the entrepreneurship or the farmers producer companies or organizations have been developed by our university on marketing aspect of this red rice. Next, please. Yeah, these are the value-added products from Rongabao Saul. Then this Rongabao, the flatted rice or Sira. Our North Lakhimpur Center has developed these value-added products from red rice. Next, please. So this diversified export, the APETA has taken initiative, Agricultural and Processed Foods Development, Export Development Authority. So as you know, the Assam lemon, the Nemu Tenga, Kazi Nemu, been imported or exported to the European countries. Then also the Bhut Jolokia. So then also the red rice, the APETA has taken initiative for exporting of these things so that the growers can get a good market price from their produce. Next, please. So this is typical Assamese thali with red kernel bao rice. So attractive. So red rice can be consumed even by diabetic people. Next, please. Then coming to my crop, we have been dealing with sugarcane at the Sugarcane Research Station, Buralekson. So apart from producing the normal goods or jagari for our pitha, jalpan and narikal ladu, so we have been manufacturing the liquid gur, and also the powdered gur. So just like the brown color in the brown sugar, and also the sugarcane juice as soft drink, also the jaggery chocolates. I will show the photographs. Then also some value-added products which jaggery cubes. I will show in next slide. Next, please. Yeah, value addition in sugarcane. These are the detailed procedures how we can produce the value-added products. The interested persons or the entrepreneurs can call an email number. We can give them training for producing these value-added products so that entrepreneurship development can be made in our state. Next, please. Yeah, also this is the detailed procedure how we can produce the juice. But as you know, the sugarcane, the keeping quality of the sugarcane juice is very less. So use some locally available materials like bhindi plant. These detailed procedures are given here. Next, please. Please go to the next slide.
So I have.
Yeah. I'll only do this.
Okay.
3 slides left. I will summarize. So this is also another method how we can produce the jaggery, the value-added products. Next, please. Shubhankar, please go to the next slide.
Sir, is it not visible?
Oh yeah, these are the products developed by us. So these are bottled liquid jaggery, then chocolate jaggery, chocolate powder, preparing the jaggery, the jaggery powder. These are some of the photographs that I have already discussed. These are the format or former where we produce the jaggery cubes. Next, please. These are the photographs of jaggery we manufactured here. This is the format, or just like the Kalagon or the Borfi prepared in the hotel industries. We produce these value-added products with the Paris. It faces good market price. We sell the bottles, or we say the half kilogram at 100 rupees. These are some snapshots of the value-added product from sugarcane developed here. Next, please. Yeah, this is still not our product. It has been developed by Sugarcane Breeding Institute at Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Recently, they have released their own product in the market. There's a cane jam, just like the fruit jam. The cane jam is produced by the Sugarcane Breeding Institute at Coimbatore. We are also trying to produce the cane jam, which can be produced from the cane juices. This can be used as just like your fruit jams in the loaves, or just like butter spreads in between the two pieces of the bread. Next, please. This is also the byproducts, the bagasse, or the leftover after crushing the sugar cane for juice. The আমার probably যেটো কোৱা হয়, the bagasse can also be used for some value-added products like the festivals or the marriage festivals. This bagasse can also be used. Nowadays, the ethanol is being produced from the bagasse. So as you know, the government of India has given more stress on production green energy. So green energy, ethanol is being produced from the sugarcane juices and also the sugarcane byproducts like bagasse. We are also trying to acquire one mini plant from the National Sugar Institute, Kanpur. These are the value-added products from bagasse or sugarcane leftover. Next, please. This is thank you all about, because I have covered not only the creation of value for different agricultural products, but also the intervention of different already developed technologies, how this can uplift the economy of the state by adopting these new technologies. The entrepreneurship can be developed nowadays. The farmer producer companies or farmer producing organizations coming out. So we are ready to help those entrepreneurs. They can have specialized training in our center, or nowadays in 23 KVKs have already established in 23 districts of Assam, apart from 3 KVKs under Government of India. So KVKs are already they are imparting training to the unemployed youth for employment generation. Thank you very much. I am also thankful to the Aztec for inviting me to deliver a lecture on value creation. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Soikia. Actually, your presentation has shown that agriculture is the backbone of our economy, and how the scientific intervention can change the value of life, starting to value addition to the projects. I think you have covered a whole range of activities. And Dr. Soikia is a well-known agronomist of our state and the region. His initiative for partnering with farmers to accelerate adoption of new technologies is well appreciated, and it is already a published work. Thank you, Dr. Soikia. We would like to have more interaction and association with you in future. So it is over to Shubhankar now.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Continuing with the event, now we have Dr. Dream Prasad Sharma, Associate Professor, Tezpur Central University. So, he is going to deliver a talk on the theme Science Education for Scientific Temper. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Am I audible now? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
You're audible.
Okay. So let me share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, is it coming?
Yes, sir.
It's coming, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Guwahati University, the Director, Aztec, and the entire Aztec family, today's distinguished speakers, and ladies and gentlemen. So today I am here to talk something about science education for scientific temper. So this scientific temper is the key word behind which all such discoveries that we have been talking about actually takes place. So essentially, we look for a modern society, particularly after independence. Everyone was trying to have a society which has a modern outlook. So what does this modern mean? Modernism is basically normally understood as creation of certain facilities so that we can use the products, scientific products, discoveries, products, and then utilize them to save our time and increase our efficiency. But behind that, we have also to think it's not only the creation of facilities, we have to create a modernism in terms of thoughts also, which will be a fuel for the future scientific discovery and then increasing the human efficiency. So this thought process has also to be modernized. So how to do? So all thought process should be systematized, and this is how this term scientific temper, scientific methods are there, uh, for which we have a whole lot of the scientific discoveries and this concept of modernism comes. So scientific temper, I had to go its first origin. This term first appeared in the book that was written by Jawaharlal Nehru, where the scientific temper is New India should have a society with full of scientific temper. And Nehru explained it as a way of thinking, acting, behaving of an the in our life. So basically what he was is the rational society. So where the scientific term is basically systemization of the systematization of the activity uh, attitude through the of logic, discussion, uh, discussion and argument, and some in thoughts, then it becomes this thought process is the scientific temper. So scientific temper, when we try to it, so what we have to keep in mind is that individuals should use the method. So what do we mean by the method? It has a systematic sequence of works, as we have already said. So it's basically observing the physical reality, passions, and hypothesis, analyzes the analyzes through certain techniques, scientific techniques, or the mathematical logic, or experimentation, and then we have to validate whether this is actually correct or not correct. Then, for which it is not correct, we'll have to point it out, and whether it is connected to the original hypothesis. If it is connected to the hypothesis, we have to modify the hypothesis or reject the hypothesis, basically through the testing process. And then finally, when this validation process is done, this has to be communicated or spoken, its outcomes to the general public. So this is essentially the scientific temper. Once we follow this kind of law or once we instill this kind of thought processes, then we have developed a scientific temper among ourselves, and the benefit of it is entire gamut of your work, activities, thoughts will be systematized, which will increase probability of discoveries and inventions, because discoveries and invention requires a highly systematic mind. So in exercising this scientific temper, there is a philosophy or basically the vision. So what we have to keep in mind, the scientific temper has to give a fair, it about this equation and sense of democracy means whatever has been said or hypothesized, similar type of hypothesizing might also come from the other corner, which have to be democratically considered. That means dogmatism has to be entirely removed in the scientific. So there is no place of dogmatism in the scientific temper. So democracy has to be ensured, and the tolerance. And what this discovery of India was envisioning was that every Indian citizen to develop the scientific temper, thereby humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform. This inquiry is the basic word which actually forms the concept of scientific temper. So you can see its chronology in India. So as we have already said, the term was coined in the book Discovery of India, and after that, in our constitution, there was a amendment, this 42nd amendment to Indian Constitution in 1976. In the fundamental rules, part 4A, article 51A and H, with an H. So this was, and it was clearly talking about the scientific temperament has to be listed in the fundamental duties. And since then, not only this amendment and the discovery of India, there have been many NGOs, and till recently, this NCSTC network, the many organizations in Assam, we had Assam Science Society and other organizations, Environmental Society and other scientific organizations have also been working on it, sometimes within the NCSTC network and sometimes outside people are working onto it. While talking about the scientific temperament, also we'll have to accept first some of the hard realities of India, because if we want the Indian society to be really modern, and then we'll have to consider, we'll have to yeah, we'll have to consider some of the hard realities. So we'll have to accept that the Indian society is largely superstitious. This is slightly stronger statement, but I have ventured to say like this, that in many of my experiences, I have said that many people have claimed themselves to be instilled with scientific temper, but then from behind, many superstitions were still they were preserving the still. So considering all those things, we have to accept the hard reality that largely our society have been superstitious. Blind faith still persists even after the literacy rate of almost 70%, and even most sane person in school enrollment, right to education, after the independence, all these things, even after all those things, we have not been able to remove all these blind faiths or the superstitious mind. And we have the religious orthodoxy. Religion is a personal faith, nobody denies onto it. But then a lot of orthodoxy which have been acting as an impediment to real scientific development. The sense of casteism, basically the discrimination, gender biasness, all those things are still persisting. Whereas in the rationalistic society, we expect this some of the impeding this rationals. And we have also some reflections that have our schools will have to now think, because we have been since 1947, we have been trying to create a modern society, and our schools have been created, our schools have been modernized, and after science education since 1947 also, probably we have failed to inculcate scientific temper among the larger section of the population. So is it that the preschool children are rational by nature, So it gives us another scope that, and quite often it is talked about, that the small kids' minds are rational, they're fearless, whatever is felt, whatever is observed, they are very explicit in expressing it. Then it also gives us a scope to think that the preschool students are rational by nature, but as soon as they come to the institutional learning system, our system have largely failed to promote this rational mind that they have already had in the preschool period. The curricula or science education, the rote learning, all these are reflections that we need to carry about, and an excellent performance in the exam, but the lacking scientific temper imbibed among school children. Particularly, the school children are our futures, and we shape them in our institutions, and we have largely seen excellent performance in terms of their scores. The mapping of their performance through certain numbers, numeration of their performance, but then basic requirement is the developing, inculcating a scientific mind so that our society or particular individual, they become rational and ultimately create a rational society. Some of the misgivings are also there, some of the misunderstanding points are also there. So many times it is seen or said that scientific temper is measured by scientific skill or expertise in science domain knowledge. That means whoever studies the subject of science is a person having scientific temperament. This is already said, but in fact, it has in reality, it has not been seen. The scientific body of knowledge may be accumulated, may be absorbed, but then the scientific temper that we have talked about is something into the thought process. Every thought process has to be quite systematized. So largely the scientists or those practitioners of science, many a times it is seen that they have a full body of knowledge, but then lacking scientific temper. This is one misgiving. This scientific temper will not directly mean a person who has scientific body of knowledge. And also, it is also said that the scientific temper is not to be created or not to be created within the common mass. It is a monopoly of the scientists who practice science, which is not actually true. So scientific temper is actually a subject of common mass, because the larger society it talks about. So the more scientific temper one can instill into the society, more rationalistic will be the societies, and more a realistic decision making process. The decision making process will be more realistic when we create more persons with scientific temper, instill scientific temper. So scientific temper pertains to a viewpoint. It's basically a viewpoint rather than a subject or a specialized body of knowledge. And the growth of scientific temper, we can also measure. So how do we measure this growth of scientific temper? Whether it is increasing or decreasing. So we can see, so we can count the common people who are using the method of science to their own lives and their own decision-making process. So scientific temper vis-a-vis Indian science education. So in Indian science education, what we see is scientific knowledge is confined mainly to schools and schools curriculum. The science knowledge has not been trickled down to the poorest of the society or the most unprivileged sector of the society. So one has to look into this. The larger chunk of the society under non-formal education is largely unscientific in their attitudes. So this is an obvious fact. And the rationalistic society is still a far cry in the Indian context. These are, though it's not very good to hear, but then these are hard facts. We need to address them because Indian science policies will have to include these points. So some of the solutions, goals, or missions in order to eradicate this or to lessen this kind of negative impacts, negative effects. So we can introduce the observation-based learning as the science education. We have to make things open access for scientific knowledge, scientific methods, and scientific reasoning. So whatever has been created in whatever manner it has been created, if we document them and we leave it to the public, then this will probably help people to adopt the procedures of acquiring scientific knowledge or scientific using scientific methods and how to use scientific reasoning. So it will be it will act as a guideline. So those science communicators and basically the students are to be trained to be curious and the outlook of inventiveness and creativity in the backdrop of scientific methodology, where many times we see inventions and creativity in the young minds, but then what happens, because they have not followed the scientific methodology, so these kind of creativities are not going to sustain too long. So in order for its sustenance and its future development and this value addition out of these their thoughts or creative minds, this has to be backed by scientific methodologies. So promotion to the understanding of traditional knowledge, its rational evaluation and value addition. So the earlier speakers have already largely talked about in this direction. So it has to be largely promoted. This is what is felt. And science education and scientific temper. So here we'll have to look at the education and the schooling system and see how the scientific insights and temper can be instilled in every steps of teaching learning process. So aim of the curriculum development, teaching learning, the evaluation process, to train the students to develop the critical and creative thinking through learning by doing. This learning by doing has been quite effective at the individual levels. We have also tried, we along with certain NGOs, we've been trying learning by doing is really effective. So this can always be adopted, and we have been talking about this also. And the trained science teachers, we need science instructors, the teachers who are imbibed, whose minds are imbibed with the scientific temper, scientific methodology, scientific temperament. They should be produced. So many times this is seen that the scientific, the science teachers in the institutional level, they're the science teachers, but at the individual levels, they are seen hardly to follow the method of science. So the science teachers and communicators should also be properly trained to develop scientific temper in a real sense, would really inculcate, because these teachers and communicators are the persons who will propagate this kind of ideas and instill this scientific temper among the new generation. In the classroom also, we can do some project-based teaching learning process with problem-solving attitude. So this project-based learning system has been recently talked about. Earlier we had instructional and sometimes participatory teaching learning process have been talked about. But this project-based teaching learning process is expected to have a certain goal and within a time frame, just as we do our projects, the scientific projects. So it has definite time period and objectives. So can we trickle everything down to the school level so that our students will do small projects. They'll pick up problems from their local issues, from their surroundings, try to solve those problems. So those things can be exercised in the classrooms. So we can create a paradigm of participatory learning involving team of students and teachers by applications of the method of science. So pick up local issue, hypothesize, analyze through reasoning, their validation, modification of hypothesis, report preparation, etc. So once they are trained in the, especially in the classroom itself, slowly the ambience of the scientific temple will be created among them, and which will eventually propagate to the entire country, and we can expect a society with scientific temper and rationalistic society. And there is one very, as a positive note, that this National Education Policy 2020 seems to enshrine in it the idea of scientific temper and attempts to address a multitude of these issues that has been developed, and hopefully India would perceive its fruits in a measured way in the near future. So these ideas we can have further readings. These are some of the references, bibliography. We can have further reading. And with this, I'd like to thank you all. Thank you, Aztec, for providing me to share my ideas.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Bhim Prasad Sharma. Dr. Bhim Prasad Sharma is a very close to Assam Science Technology Environment Council in various programs like Aryabhata Science Center, Children's Science Congress, and many other activities. And whenever we ask for his support, he is always ready to help us. And you are important area, how the education can change the society, how it is important. So we'll have your continuous support to the council. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. And Subhankar.
Thank you, sir. We have reached the end of the session. So I'd like to ask if anyone has any question for our esteemed speakers, so they may put forward their questions. So anyone has any questions? I think we can continue with the vote of thanks since no one is asking any question. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm really honored to be given the opportunity to deliver the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to thank Dr. Debapriya Datta, Scientist G, Department of Science and Technology, Govt of Assam, and Dr. Rasmi Sharma, Scientist F, Department of Science and Technology, Govt of Assam, for guiding us through the entire program, and Mr. Ravikant Prajapati, Scientist B, for joining us today. I would like to thank CDEC, and I would like to thank all our invited speakers, Honorable Vice Chancellors, Dr. Pratap Jyoti Hendik, Guwahati University, Honorable Director Sri Mrinal Krishna Chaudhary, Assam Energy Development Agency, Dr. Bhuvan Chandra Chutia, Assistant Professor, Nagaon College, Dr. Tulsi Prasad Saikia, Chief Scientist, Assam Agriculture University, Dr. Bhim Prasad Sharma, Associate Professor, Tezu University. Thank you all for sharing with us all your knowledge and giving us insight into different fields and how science can influence our society. I would like to thank all the state councils for joining us today. I would like to thank our Honorable Director, Srimati Kimni Sengsang, for motivating us in every event. Then I would like to thank our head SNT Aztec, Dr. Jaideep Borua, for guiding us through the whole program. And I would like to thank ER Biman Borua sir, SO SNT STEC. I would also like to thank all the coordinators of Aryabhatta Science Centers, Science and Mathematics Facilitators, and all the students and all the participants of today's event. I would like to thank all my colleagues, co-workers, and seniors. I would like to thank all others who I could not mention individually. Thank you for making this program a success. We hope to see you again in the next program and so on. With this, I would like to end the vote of thanks. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you.
So we'll meet. Thank you.
Thank you.